Hey there, and welcome. Have you ever stopped to think about how the way you see the world can reveal some pretty fascinating truths about who you are? It's true. Our brains are just wired to find patterns, and the very first ones we latch onto, well, they can be incredibly telling. So today, we're going to explore some fun riddles and puzzles that do exactly that, give you a little peek into the unique workings of your own mind. So yeah, this is the big question we're kicking things off with. A lot of the time, it's not really about what you can see, but what your brain decides to notice first in a kind of confusing image. It's that initial gut reaction that we're really interested in. So, you ready? Let's dive in. Okay, first up, we're going to take a little look in the mirror, so to speak. This first set of puzzles is all about looking inward. These are visual riddles where your very first impression is the key. They play on this psychological thing where your mind tries to organize a chaotic image into something familiar, and what it chooses can say a whole lot about you. All right, take a quick look at this image. And hey, don't overthink it, just go with the very first animal that pops out at you. Is it that powerful gorilla, or is it the sleek tiger? Got your answer? Okay, cool. So which one was it? These two animals, well, they represent some very different ways of approaching life. If you saw the gorilla first, that probably means you're a pretty independent person. You really value your personal space, your me time, you're totally comfortable making decisions on your own. But if that tiger jumped out at you, you're more of a risk taker. You're someone who finds solutions and isn't afraid of a challenge. Let's try another one. Look at this design right here. What's the very first thing your brain registers? Is it a brilliant, bright explosion, or is it two hands kind of reaching towards each other? Go ahead and lock in that first impression. All right, let's break it down. If you saw an explosion, chances are you're a fantastic organizer and a natural-born leader. You're the kind of person who isn't afraid to take charge. Now, if you saw two hands, that points to a totally different strength. It suggests you're a great listener, someone who genuinely cares about other people's problems and is always ready to lend a hand. Okay, for our next section, we're shifting gears a little bit. We're moving from personality to pure, simple observation. This time, it's not about what you see first, but how much you can see when you really, really look closely. This one's a classic. Take a really close look at this drawing and just count up all the animals you can find. It might look simple at first, but trust me, there are creatures hidden everywhere. Seriously, feel free to pause right here if you need a little more time to hunt them all down. Time's up. So how many did you find? The grand total is a whopping 13. Yeah, of course you've got the obvious ones like the elephant and the donkey, but did you also spot the fish in the elephant's eye? Or the crocodile making up its ear? What about the snake that's its tail? There's even a teeny tiny mosquito in there. So, what does your number say about you? Well, if you found between 4 and 6, you spotted the most obvious ones for sure. If you managed to see 7 to 9, hey, your attention to detail is really good. And if you saw 10 to 13 creatures in there, well, congratulations. Your observation skills are absolutely top-notch. A puzzle like that is all about spotting things that are hiding in plain sight. It kind of reminds me of a cool fact about one of nature's true masters of disguise, the chameleon. You might think they'd change color to hide, right? But it's actually for communication and to regulate their body temperature. How cool is that? Just a little bonus fact for you before our next round. All right, so we've analyzed our personalities, we've tested our vision. Now it's time for a total change of pace. Let's just have some fun with a few classic quick-fire riddles that are all about simple, clever wordplay. Here's the first one. It's a classic for a reason. What has hands, but is completely incapable of clapping? Any ideas? Of course, it's a clock. Simple, clever, and it always gets a little smile. All right, let's keep this ball rolling. This next one really plays with your expectations. Think about it for a sec. Something gets wetter and wetter, but its entire job is to dry things. What on earth could that be? A towel. The more you use it to dry yourself, the wetter it gets. It's a perfectly paradoxical little puzzle, isn't it? And for our last one in this fun little round, I'm absolutely full of holes, like a total mess of gaps and spaces. But my main purpose is to hold water. What am I? A sponge. Simple, fun, and a great little brain teaser. These kinds of riddles are just pure, uncomplicated fun. So we've looked at two very different kinds of puzzles today. On one hand, you have these deep, psychological ones, and on the other, these simple, funny riddles. So what's the point of it all?
When you really break it down, these two types of puzzles are scratching two totally different itches. The personality puzzles we started with, they tap into our desire for self-understanding. The reward is that moment of insight, a little clue into who we are. But classic riddles, on the other hand, they serve our need for simple joy and connection. The reward there is a shared laugh or that satisfying aha moment.
And that kind of leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Do you prefer the puzzles that promise a little bit of self-discovery? Or are you all about the ones that just give you a good chuckle? What you look for in a riddle might just be another riddle that reveals who you really are. And that's our look into the world of riddles. I really hope you had some fun and maybe even learned something new about yourself along the way. Thanks so much for joining me.